For decades, Canada and the United States have been more than neighbors. They've been partners, friends, some would even say family. But in 2025, something has changed. Thousands of Canadians are quietly turning away from the US. And it's not just talk. It's already hitting the numbers. Last year, Canadians spent over $20 billion in the United States, making Canada the largest source of international tourism for America. But this year, road crossings have collapsed by more than 32%. Nearly 900,000 fewer trips were made in just a single month. Air travel bookings from Canada have plunged by over 70%. And for many U.S. states that once depended on loyal Canadian visitors, the damage is already showing. Today, we'll reveal 7 American states that are feeling the impact, and why this quiet rebellion could shift the balance of cross-border tourism for years to come. Number 1. Florida. Florida has long been Canada's favorite winter escape. Every year, millions of Canadians traded snow for sunshine, filling the beaches of Miami, the theme parks of Orlando, and the golf courses of Tampa. In 2024, nearly 4 million Canadians visited Florida, contributing an estimated $6 billion to the state's tourism economy. But in 2025, the wave has begun to crash. Cross-border trips are down by over 30%. Flight bookings from Canada to the U.S. have plunged by more than 70%. And Florida is feeling the chill. Hotels along the coastline are reporting lower than expected occupancy for peak season. Golf resorts that once bustled with Canadian members are offering deep discounts to fill tee times. And real estate agents, who have long counted Canadians among Florida's largest group of foreign buyers, are seeing slower sales in key snowbird markets. Tourism supports over 1.6 million jobs in Florida. Economists warn that even a modest decline could put tens of thousands of jobs at risk if the trend continues. One tourism executive summed it up bluntly. Losing Canadian visitors doesn't just hurt tourism, it ripples through our entire economy. For Florida's winter economy, 2025 isn't just quieter. It's a warning sign of deeper trouble ahead. And Florida's not alone. Across the border, familiar towns are already seeing even sharper declines. Number 2. New York. Buffalo and Niagara Falls have long depended on their proximity to Canada, on the steady stream of weekend shoppers, tourists, and families crossing the border. For many businesses, Canadians weren't just visitors. They were part of everyday life. But in 2025, those familiar streets are growing quieter. Border crossings are down by more than 23% in some areas compared to last year. Retailers near the bridges report softer sales, emptier parking lots, and fewer weekend shoppers. Even the downtown attractions in Niagara Falls, once bustling with Canadian families, are seeing thinner crowds. And the slowdown isn't limited to border towns. Across the state, Canadian visitors once fueled an estimated $600 million in spending in New York City alone, a crucial pillar of the state's broader tourism economy. Now, experts warn that even a 10% decline in Canadian travel could cost the U.S. $2.1 billion and 14,000 jobs, with New York among the most exposed. One local tourism operator summed it up. I've lost easily more than 60% of my industry from Canadian groups. Lower tourist spending also threatens public revenues, putting future services at risk for communities large and small. And as border cities like Buffalo grow quieter, even America's most famous playground is feeling the absence of Canadian visitors. Number 3. Nevada. Las Vegas has always been more than a city. It's a symbol of entertainment, adventure, and escape. For Canadians, it was a familiar getaway, a place where winters could be traded for neon nights and endless shows. In 2024, over 1.5 million Canadians visited Las Vegas, making Canada one of the largest international markets for the city. From casinos and resorts to theaters and shopping centers, Canadian visitors pumped hundreds of millions into Nevada's economy every year. But in 2025, the casinos are noticeably quieter. Flight bookings from Canada to Las Vegas have dropped sharply, with airlines reporting reduced demand for direct routes. Some resort managers have acknowledged softer bookings, especially in the spring and summer seasons when Canadian tourism once helped smooth out the calendar. In a city where tourism accounts for nearly one-third of all jobs, even a moderate decline in international visitors can ripple through thousands of lives, from hotel staff and performers to taxi drivers and restaurant owners. One resort executive put it plainly: "We built this city for visitors. When they slow down, the whole city feels it." And as Las Vegas adjusts to dimmer lights, across the Pacific coast, another American giant is seeing its own Canadian connection start to fray. Number 4. California. For generations, California's coastlines, cities, and luxury shopping streets have drawn Canadian visitors seeking sun, culture, and adventure. From the beaches of San Diego to the boutiques of Los Angeles, the Golden State was a dream destination year-round. In 2024, Canadians made up nearly 15% of California's international visitors, spending billions across hotels, restaurants, and entertainment. But in 2025, that steady stream is slowing noticeably. Luxury retailers in Los Angeles are reporting softer sales from international customers. Hotel chains along the Pacific coast have noted quieter booking seasons. Even theme parks that once counted heavily on Canadian families are seeing thinner crowds. One Beverly Hills store owner recently reflected, "We used to count on Canadians every season. Now it feels like a missing piece in the rhythm of the year." Tourism fuels over 1 million jobs in California, and Canadian spending has long played an outsized role in key coastal economies. If the slowdown continues, the ripple effects could stretch far beyond the beaches, into small businesses, service industries, and seasonal employment. And while California grapples with a softer season, deep in the heart of the Southwest, another longtime Canadian favorite is facing a quieter year of its own. Number 5. Arizona. Every year, Arizona's deserts came alive with Canadian voices and laughter. From the golf courses of Phoenix to the resorts of Tucson, Canadians built communities where escaping the cold meant not just vacations, but belonging. In 2024, Canadians made up a major share of Arizona's seasonal visitors, contributing significantly to local tourism and real estate markets. But in 2025, the neighborhoods that once bustled with festivals, golf tournaments, and community gatherings are falling quiet. Rental bookings have softened. Community centers report a drop in Canadian membership signups. And real estate agents, once busy selling vacation homes, are noting slower interest from longtime snowbird buyers. Tourism generates over $3 billion annually in Arizona, and Canadian visitors are deeply woven into that fabric. A sustained decline could affect not just hotels and restaurants, but medical centers, service industries, and local businesses built around seasonal populations. One community center director observed, "It's not just visitors we're losing, it's part of our identity." And as Arizona's vibrant communities fade into quieter months, across the Great Lakes, another place where Canadian ties run deep is beginning to feel the strain. Number 6. Michigan. In Michigan, cities like Detroit, Port Huron, and Sault Ste. Marie have always depended on easy, frequent cross-border movement. Canadian travelers filled malls, attended sporting events, and supported small businesses year after year. In 2024, Michigan's border crossings accounted for over 3.6 million vehicle entries from Canada, nearly 28% of all U.S. crossings. But in 2025, that traffic is slowing dramatically. Retailers near the border report softer sales. Events that once relied on Canadian attendance, from hockey games to summer festivals, are seeing smaller crowds. And the day tripper economy, where Canadians crossed just to shop, is drying up. In a state where cross-border commerce sustains entire communities, the absence is deeply felt. One local business owner said, "We built our services around cross-border life. Without it, survival gets harder every month." Michigan's border towns aren't just facing a business downturn. They're confronting the slow erosion of a lifestyle built on friendly, familiar crossings. And further west, near the quiet shores of the Pacific, the smallest American towns, the ones closest to Canada, are facing an even tougher fight for survival. Number 7. Washington. Along the U.S.-Canada border, small towns like Blaine and Bellingham in Washington were once vibrant hubs of cross-border life. Weekend shoppers, day trippers, and tourists from British Columbia kept restaurants, gas stations, and outlet malls alive. In 2024, Washington's border crossings handled over 3.2 million personal vehicle entries, with Blaine alone accounting for nearly a quarter of all traffic. But in 2025, the streets feel emptier. Local gas stations that once thrived on Canadian drivers are reporting steep sales declines. Malls designed with Canadian shoppers in mind now sit quieter, with fewer cars filling the massive parking lots. Even seasonal festivals and farmers' markets, once boosted by weekend visitors, are struggling with reduced turnout. For towns like Blaine, the Canadian connection wasn't just economic. It was personal, woven into daily life. One longtime resident reflected, "It's like losing half your family overnight." In places where small businesses operate on thin margins, a 30% or 40% decline in cross-border traffic isn't just a bad season. It's an existential threat. And as Washington's border towns brace for a quieter future, one thing is clear. The ripple effects of Canadians staying home are spreading further and cutting deeper than anyone expected. As we've seen across Florida, New York, and beyond, the bond between Canada and the United States was never just about tourism. It was about trust, familiarity, and a shared way of life across the longest unguarded border in the world. But today, that connection is shifting. From bustling cities to quiet border towns, the impact of Canadians staying home is spreading, reshaping economies, communities, and traditions on both sides of the line. The question now isn't just how fast the numbers recover. It's whether the spirit of that cross-border friendship can truly be restored. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you seen the changes yourself? Quieter streets, emptier stores, familiar places losing their rhythm? Share your experiences and stories in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and staying informed.